panic sweeps across the land.
Precisely.
My plan is perfect.
Precisely.
Without the sword, Arthur is vulnerable.
Precisely.
And now Excalibur is mine.
Here's where we enter a grey area.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Explaining Warhammer to My Girlfriend. I am your host Ava, and joining me as always is my lovely significant other, Kari.
Woo!
She is here.
I am here.
Today, we are reaching the end of our trip through chaos.
Oh.
The fourth ruinous power, the Lord of Change, the Master of Mischief. We are wrapping up our Chaos God episodes with Tzeentch.
Tzeentchy poo.
Before we get into it, though, if you want to support us, head on over to patreon.com/numbskulls, where you can get all sorts of rewards like early episodes, a private Discord, bloopers, behind-the-scenes stuff, personal art, and much more. That's patreon.com/numbskulls. And also, unfortunately, the Black Friday sale on orchidate.com is over.
No.
But you can still go over there, get yourself some merch.
Treat yourself.
You deserve the most comfortable sweatpants I've ever owned. I don't know what's going on. I think Bricky is working with witches because this fabric, I gotta tell you, I haven't taken these off in like a month. I've been washing them and everything, but like the moment they go into the wash, they're coming back out because I want them on my body
just dampening them. You just dip them in there and then pull them out and let them dry. Just throw them in some like fabric softener so they smell.
I can't wait for it. I gotta get them back on. They're that comfortable. Damn. We also have other merch such as a Sleepy Necron hoodie, Word Vomit, and much more. Trust me, that last one's it's a lot cooler than what it sounds like. If you want to check out any of that merch, check it out at orchidate.com. Link in the description. My love, what do you know about Tzeentch?
Tricky boy.
Tricky boy, yeah.
Tricky boy. Bird.
Yeah.
But also wacky wavy.
Wibbly wobbly.
Well, I was going to say wacky waving, inflatable, fundable, tentacle man. Listen. I don't know if we're doing well.
No, we're doing good. So you actually have the benefit of knowing a little bit more about Tzeentch because Alex and I talk about Tzeentch quite a bit because I think Tzeentch is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Alex thinks Tzeentch is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Tzeentch is pretty cool.
Yeah. I feel like other than Slaanesh, Tzeentch was definitely the one I was the most interested in.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's get right into it. Tzeentch is the Lord of Change. And it doesn't matter what that change is. Good, bad, change. That's what the important thing is. He is known as the god of lies, knowledge, magic, destiny, trickery, and so much more. He is responsible pretty much for all of the magic that's going on in the galaxy. It's all derived from him.
I always play casters. So.
No, like his dedicated Space Marine faction are like just a bunch of wizards that have like this Egyptian kind of motif.
What the?
And they're literally
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Like, pretty much. Yeah, they're just like casting spells and they've got like floating pyramids
Dark magician.
And stuff. It's really cool.
You can be the dark magician and I'll be the dark magician girl.
Do you want to know what the name of his like dedicated Space Marine army is?
Tzeentchy boys.
I wish. They're called the
Tzeentchers.
1,000 Suns.
Not Beaky Gits?
No, not Beaky Gits.
Because birds?
They all had the Beaky Gits around the Horus Heresy, but they eventually changed that out to the more standardized. They had like these pig faces for a while, but now they have like this Primaris
Snouts?
kind of like almost knight-looking vibe, which I like the more Primarisified stuff personally, but I know
Every
that
time
might be
I
a
look
little
at the Beaky
controversial.
helmets,
Mm-hmm.
my brain just intrusive thoughts like headbutting people and like what that would cause.
Some of the Space Marine legions would 100,000% headbutt anything that they could, and they would use the beak to their advantage.
It's like a bayonet.
It's not that
but
sharp.
Like
it's actually
hardcore.
pretty blunt.
It's just bludgeoning damage. You have my sword and my beak.
There is a bird-themed faction of Space Marines. Yeah, they're raven-themed,
because the
technically.
bird is the word, and the bird is.
But anyway, we're not talking about them today. We're talking about Tzeentch,
Tzeentchy
the Lord
boy.
of Magic. So,
Okay.
as we just mentioned, his followers often mages, those who seek knowledge, or manipulators.
Oh, so they're one or the other. You're either a magic user or an abuser.
Well, you can be all of them.
That's
the illusion of free choice.
You can
and
either
it's just two
gaslight
paths.
people or use freaking like
Or use fireball.
or-
It achieves the same thing.
Listen, you're gonna get to your destination either
You're gonna
way. No, it's literally just: are you gonna go through this game with firepower or sneak?
Yeah. You're gonna end up the same place, but like, what path do you think you want?
See, when I
Yeah.
did Skyrim for the first time, I just put my entire skill tree into archery until I could just play the arrows,
Yeah.
and I was just taking everyone out. So
I was more of a sword and board.
yes,
kind
I
of
know
person.
you were. I don't know that I wasn't there, but I know you, Mr. Corn.
I like hitting people.
I
with
know,
a sword and a
and that's
shield.
okay. That's good. I love that about you.
I like being off screen and suddenly everyone's dead and nobody knows why.
Well,
That's why I stand behind you, keep you alive, and just cast stone at everything.
as we also mentioned, his vibe is also very much birds
Oh.
or eldritch horrors. Kind
That
of
could
like
be an eldritch horror bird.
Well, we'll kind of talk about some of that stuff, but essentially the vibe of the eldritch horror things is like the unfathomable knowledge of the universe, like sort of like I stare into the abyss is staring back. That's Tzeentch's thing. When you unlock knowledge with him, it's like almost cursing you with the knowledge. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes. Because
Yeah.
every time I realize the truths of the world, I also get more depressed.
His Space Marine, Chaos Space Marine Legion is, they're quite sad. So yeah, this tracks.
The more I know, the more I miss the peace of darkness and silence. Maybe that's what he wants. Quick thought. All change is good.
Yes, all change is good.
All
Good or
change
bad,
is good.
doesn't matter.
All
Change is the
change.
goal.
Change is the goal. What if I change into a follower of Korn?
Ooh, well,
That's change.
remember our good old friend Scarbrand?
Aw. How's he doing?
Not great, last I checked.
Oh, no. Honey.
He's kind of just rampaging through
Aw,
places.
Somebody bring him like a
think he'll-
sandwich. Maybe a Coke.
I think he's gonna kill you if you do that.
Well, KB sneak leave it under by his door. He'll be in a better he's not himself when he's hungry.
There's a joke from a series called If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device.
I thought you were
where-
I literally thought you were gonna say if the Emperor had a new groove, and I was like, I'm so into this.
But the Scarbrand shows up sometimes as a cameo, and he's like, Scarbrand hates being outside. He also hates being inside. Scarbrand will stand in the doorway. He hates it slightly less.
He's a cat.
He is a cat.
You know when you open the door for your cat and they just stand there?
But anyway, Scarbrand was actually influenced by Tzeentch, if you remember.
Yes. What did he want him to do? Take the skull of the bear?
No. Well, yes, that was more Total War Warhammer, but
Oh, sorry, I got
with
confused.
him attacking Khorne.
Oh yeah. He was like, you should stab him because you're the best. And then he was
yeah,
like,
you're the best.
and then Dad was like, excuse me. And he was like, oh, no.
Dad was like, "How dare you try to hit me in the back? At least be
Did you
a
just talk
man
back
about
to
it."
me? And then it didn't go well. And then we got SpaceX.
So if you were to change into a follower of Khorne, Tzeentch, this is another thing that goes into his vibe. Yeah, of course, sure. This is all part of my plan.
Yeah,
you
I
see.
would. My thought was it would just be a step in a direction to Tzeentch,
Yeah.
which isn't necessarily like again, you're change.
It
Like
all
it's still
comes back.
change.
Mm-hmm. So people who play Tzeentch and people who vibe with Tzeentch, they never lose. Rather, Tzeentch himself never loses because it's all part of the plan, baby. Yeah, we had this catastrophic loss. We lost like half of our planets. Half our troops are dead. Whatever. It's all part of the plan.
So it's about winning the war, not the battle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
4D chess, and he's playing with every single person.
Battleship.
So now we have the general vibe of Tzeentch. Let's get into some of the demons. We're back to demon. This is gonna be like our last demon.
No, the demon.
Oh,
Can we
that's
come
sad
back
to
to
think
demons
about.
after? Are
We'll
there
probably
more
have
kinds
some
of demons?
dedicated
What about this
episode
other
towards
guy?
demons.
Harold. What was his name?
Harold.
You said there was a fifth guy who's not really canon.
Oh, Malice, Malal.
I wasn't that far off.
Yeah, he's got like a sentence of lore. There's nothing.
I'm sure there are independent demons.
Yeah, we'll probably have episodes where we go into like different demonic entities. Like there are named demons that do some pretty cool stuff in the lore, so we'll probably have dedicated episodes. This will not be the last time that we talk about demons.
Are demons a result of the gods, or are there demons that are just like existing and they haven't been influenced by the gods or made?
I believe
Like if you just went in the warp and looked around, would you find some spookers?
they are all creations of their god.
Right. Although that is also to say, Perhaps we don't know of some gods.
Oh, well, here's the fun thing about chaos. The 4 chaos gods that we've been talking about, Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, Slaanesh, those are just the 4 big ones.
Right.
There are so many minor gods of chaos that cover a whole span of different things, such as technology, betrayal, so on and so forth.
Scarbrand. No. That was a clerical error.
Oh, and the most important one. I would be berated if I did not mention the most important chaos god.
What's that?
Rat.
Wrath?
Rat.
Rathalos?
No, like a rat.
Oh, Cheese Boy.
Yeah.
Vermintide?
Yes.
Oh,
How do you think he became the 5th chaos god in Warhammer Fantasy, not 40k?
He dreamed about it real big.
He dreamed about it.
He was a little rat in France, thinking about flavors, realizing there could be so much more than just the trash. For if you took the individual pieces of trash and put them together
take cheese
in
and a
purposeful
strawberry
ways,
and you eat it, it tastes like shit. Did you know that?
You coming for my charcuterie boards?
Anyway.
No.
Okay. She's going to attack me.
I'm just saying, I love a good charcuterie board. Oh,
Yeah.
There's nothing in the world like a good charcuterie board. Anyway.
So without further ado, let me introduce to you the blue and pink horrors of Tzeentch.
Uh-oh.
So
The bisexuals are coming at you. I am sure you didn't mean this, but I'm sorry. I'm staring at the guy on the right here, and I just can't be aggressive. Be aggressive. Look, he's got little pom-poms.
it's supposed to be fire, but I
But
see
it looks
it.
like a pom-pom.
It does look like a pom-pom. So Games Workshop has sort of standardized their design to be like kind of humanoid-ish. Like they've got 2 legs. They might have 2 to 4 arms, maybe. They hold little daggers. They cast fireball, all that stuff. But in lore and in some of the older models, they're actually more of like just a mass of mouths and eyes and limbs, like some H.P. Lovecraft Cthulhu stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like literal angels.
Yeah, like you're looking at it and it's like changing and like you can't ever like really visualize it in your mind because it's just like this mass of like kind of bluish, kind of pinkish thing.
You can't
and it's just, like,
comprehend it
morphing.
because you were never meant to.
You were never meant to comprehend this. You're
Yeah.
looking at the abyss and the abyss is going, I'm going to hurt you.
There's this great moment in the Dresden Files, and you haven't gotten to it yet. But Harry realizes that somebody he's talking to is an angel.
Oh, no.
Like that they're inhabiting a body, and he
That's
has this
upsetting to
moment where
think
he
about.
almost soul gazes them by accident.
Don't do that.
And,
You're gonna
like,
see the devil.
They stop him, like they turn away, and he's like, "If you did that, you would die. Your
If you
brain
did
would
that-
like melt."
God. So blue horrors often have like little knives. Pink horrors
Yeah.
are more casty.
Oh,
But they can all cast fireball. It's just pink horrors are better at doing it. These are like your standard basic unit of Tzeentch. These are your plague bearers, your demonettes, your whatever, right?
Yeah.
These are the normal guys. Now, sometimes they ride on these little discs of Tzeentch, which are actually
Rubas.
full sentient demons
Sentient
that have been
Rubas.
turned into like a little disc for them to ride on, and they like float around. And sometimes you can even see Chaos Warriors riding on them, and like they ride into battle, and they're like cavalry that's flying, and it's just like these dudes on like these little circles as like
Roomba.
as they just fly in. Yeah, it's like a Roomba.
Can we dress up my Roomba? Can we make him a little Halloween costume of this?
We'd have to paint it blue, and we'd have to give it little teepees in different.
Can we give it that
places.
little sound thing where every time it hits a wall, it's like, "Fap!"
Let's get John.
We have
on
to go
it.
on a Roomba adventure. We're going down the Roomba rabbit hole on TikTok later. That's what we're doing, guys. I love Roombas. Something about them is just like trains. They always go in the same route, and I'm like fascinated by it. It's great.
Oh, they're adorable. So the most notable blue horrors that I have found are called the blue scribes of Tzeentch.
Oh.
Bit of a story time really quick.
Ooh, okay, guys.
Once upon a time, Tzeentch was the most powerful chaos god. Just bottom line, he was the strongest.
Sure. Okay, makes sense.
And he was so strong that it caused Khorne, Nurgle, and Slaanesh to all unite against him. So they came in, like, kicked down his door, and they were like, Tzeentch, you big fucking nerd, where is my goddamn money? I know you have it. And so, once Tzeentch had realized, oh, I'm not getting out of this. I'm going to lose.
No.
He basically went to his siblings and said, look, I give up. Watch. Check out my crystal staff. I'm going to break it as a sign of surrender, and he slammed it to the ground, and all of the pieces, like billions, unfathomably small little pieces and shards, spread throughout the world and the galaxy.
Chika no Tama,
I don't know what you just said.
the Jewel of Four Souls. In Inuyasha.
Oh, the jewel thing.
Chika no Tama.
I remember that.
Yeah, remember
that was the
how
plot of every episode.
Yeah, that was kind of the inciting incident. That's why they had to travel around. They had to go find all the shards.
It's that. It's like in Inuyasha. The thing broke, and now there's all these shards around. So this is cited as the birth of magic in the universe.
Oh.
Because all the magic spread across. So Tzeentch, having a plan to get all of his little shards back, created 2 blue horrors named Pteryx and Tzeentch.
Pain and panic.
Yes. Now, their names are just reversed.
I'm sorry, could you say them again?
Pteryx and Tzeentch.
So my sibling would be Iraq.
Yes.
Cool.
And he created these 2 blue horrors with the purpose
Yours would be
of
Ava!
going...
Sorry, that was an intrusive thought.
So he created these 2 blue horrors.
I got excited.
So Tzeentch created these 2 blue horrors to go and collect all of these shards. And I got the vibe that basically every shard they collect is 1 spell. So there's countless, right? So there's billions upon billions of spells that they're going and collecting. And basically the one in the front is writing down the spells while the one in the back is like saying them out loud. They're recording it and saying
so
it
it's a scribe
simultaneously.
situation.
Yeah, the blue scribes of Tzeentch.
Holy shit!
She got it, everyone.
Guys, did you hear that
She did
clicking
it.
sound in my brain right there?
The cogs began
Remember
to
when I started
turn.
asking questions and Ava said I'm literally about to explain this? This is why we love each other.
I love you so
No,
much.
I love you because you're the one
I'm proud of you.
explaining, and then actually would probably be reversed. You're the one who's desperately trying to read me the thing, and I'm the one who's trying to get through the dungeon without using my, I don't know.
It should be noted, Tzeentch specifically made Pteryx and Tzeentch blue horrors because they're not very smart, and they probably won't betray him.
Fair enough. So I guess one of the downsides to Tzeentch, or being a follower of Tzeentch, would be you never 100% sure nobody's going to stab you in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I keep going back to using Sith as an example, but I feel like they're a good like archetype example in the sense of like when you align yourself with untrustworthy people.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Things are gonna
That's why you
probably
need
not
to
be super
surround
safe for
yourself
you.
with the type of people you want to interact with.
Exactly. They do go into battles, and basically the idea is that they can use like any spell that they have acquired, so they have a ton of spells and a ton of magic at their disposal.
I really like that he's writing with both hands at the same time.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be less efficient.
But also knowing Tzeentch, these spells are probably either like one word, like a la Harry Potter, or like most wizard magic things, or it's like, here's the spell. It's a novel to
Right.
say one incantation.
Right.
So who knows?
Weirdest interpretation of Death Note ever. Ryuk's like,
Is it
write it
Okay,
in
I
the
was
book,
about- I was
and
about to
Light's like,
ask.
I'll take another quill and write it at the same time.
My brain went to which one is L, which one is light, but you took it in a better place.
Oh, yeah.
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 Moving on, we have our next demon of Tzeentch, Screamers.
Stingray boy.
Yeah, floppy boys. So these are just your basic, like, you remember like the flesh hounds from Korn? Like the animal kind of adjacent thing? These are Tzeentches, and so they fly around and they grab people.
They look like those things from Doctor Who that were on that sand planet.
Yeah,
With
a
the
little
bus.
bit. I remember when we watched that, I was definitely thinking of these guys.
Because I think of those guys when I think of Tyranids. From what you've described to me so far as Tyranids. Spoilers, because we haven't gotten to Tyranids yet, guys.
Big Munchie.
Big Munchie, everything. Thank you, bye-bye.
Yeah. Now, Screamers are actually the demons that get turned into the discs that
Okay, that makes sense.
the other followers
The
ride on.
Roombas.
Which it's often said as like an upgrade, but it's like you've been turned from this sentient, independent little
Thing.
manta ray, and you now are turned into a car.
It's like when you get your driver's license as a teenager, like, yeah, you're free, but now you have to drive all your friends around. Yeah.
Maybe. Moving on. We have our next unit of Tzeentch demons.
Demons.
Flamers.
Oh.
These are living flamethrowers.
Oh.
Every single orifice
What?
is a place for fire to come out of. And it's not just normal fire. This is like magic fire.
Flare 6.
No.
Oh, okay.
Imagine you got burned and you started to get cold. Imagine you saw somebody catch on fire from one of these things and they started to turn into crystal like statues. Well, you might not even get burned because just like it's almost just like magic
A
that
flame.
is taking the form of fire. Like, it's a magic flame.
Yeah, it's like how in
but-
Skyrim you cast every spell and it's doing the same thing even though it's a different color.
Right.
That's what they're doing.
Even though it's like, hey, here's fire. It takes down HP really fast. Here's ice. It deletes stamina, even though that's not very useful. The most useful one is when you're fighting wizards, you use lightning spells because that drains their magicka, so then they won't be able to cast spells.
The most useful one is that you learn all the spells where you summon something else to fight, and then
The
you
conjuration
GTF out,
tree,
and then you
oh.
use your I'm the arrow now power to just snipe the dragons in the eyeball. That's what I did.
Did you ever try to resurrect a dragon skeleton?
You can resurrect things?
Yeah, there's a spell resurrection. It's like turn zombie. So when you do it to a dragon skeleton, they just launch. They ragdoll and they like yeah.
I did have a moment when I was walking around at first, like this was when I first started, because I only started playing Skyrim a couple of years ago, like on the Switch, but I'd never actually sat down and played it myself. So I was like running around learning the world, and I was running into this one area and I was trying to get like giant's cheese or something. Anyway, suddenly I was in the stratosphere.
Yes.
And Alex looked over at me and was like, oh my God, it happened.
It happened.
And I was like, what do I do? How do I get down? And he was like, you
Don't
restart
touch them.
the game. Like, I also watched a goat hit what I assume was a rail gun, because that's the only thing that explains the speed at which it just suddenly was moving.
Sometimes the Skyrim physics engine just doesn't know what to do.
It was fascinating. And it's also one of those things like either that was literally something that only I saw, or I'm actually crazy.
Last fun little tidbit about flamers. They don't really have feet. They just have like fire
Yeah,
that's
I'm
like
noticing
levitating
they're
them.
like...
So they're either flying or they hop around to get place to place.
Like the whiz robes?
Yeah.
Do they cackle? And I just am like, oh no.
I mean, they do have a lot of mouths.
So what else do they do? Why does this creature exist? Like, what does it do outside of the battles? Does it have a
With
house?
birds.
Does it have
No.
a family?
We've never discussed demons that just like, oh yeah, and here's like their day-to-day
Well, like,
life.
this is the one that brings into question the most, honestly. Like,
Why?
I've seen stingrays have lives. You know, they go about doing their stingray business.
Demons exist for one thing and one thing only, and that is to enact the will of their creator. So if Tzeentch wants something done, he's going to send a bunch of demons. What's their purpose? To do whatever they need to do. Corn?
Okay.
Well, we know what corn's
You could
doing.
say the most things about most corporations, but people have families. You know what I'm talking about?
Demons don't.
Well, where did they come from?
Their gods created them.
Are we sure? Have we checked?
That's the best explanation I got.
Okay, fair enough.
The only ones that really have personality are usually the greater demons, or like notable demons that are kind of like chosen by their god to be more specific. Horticulus Slimix is the cultivator of Nurgle's
It's
garden.
like-
The blue scribes of Tzeentch are... It's essentially the god gives them a promotion so they get a personality.
They're more filled out NPCs.
Yeah. It's basically your average demon, nothing really going on. The named ones have been like personally chosen by their god to do something.
Right, they have a purpose.
They have a purpose, and not only that, it's, you know, maybe every single blue scribe has like a whole thoughts and personality or whatever, but that's not the ones we're focusing on. You know what I mean? We don't get that lore.
Right.
We get the lore of like
Yeah.
Kugath
Because, like,
and Skull Taker or whoever.
yeah. And, like, everybody is gonna, when they're painting their own mini of their thing, they're gonna, like, give it... Well, not
Oh, of
everybody,
course. Like,
but, like, I can see that being a part of... If I was gonna spend time on, like, a mini, I would give it a little canon, you know?
Like that's
Write a
that's
little fan fiction on the base.
Did you read the
Pronouns.
Bible? This is my blood letter. He goes by he, him.
Yeah. He's a Sagittarius, Mercury rising.
This brings us to our greater demons of Tzeentch, the Lords of Change.
Whoa, look at him. What is
Bird
happening?
boys.
That's going to be my posture in 2 years.
Yeah, they're quite good. They're very, very bird.
That's also
Very
what I look like when
creepy,
I'm
very
enthusiastic
lanky.
about anything.
That's the noise he made.
Is that the noise I thought you said you make?
No, he makes that. No, you.
Because you would be right either way on.
Babe, look! What?
Remember when suddenly the new episode of Vanderpump Rules started? We were both like,
Ugly.
Did you just call me an ugly?
Oh, you're handsome.
Oh,
he
thank
is the
you.
ugly little
All right.
We'd scream.
We screamed.
Y'all, we were
Such
watching.
A volume.
We were really sad because we were like, oh no, the thing doesn't work
We
here.
usually watch it in America at Ava's place, but I live in Canada and Ava was visiting me. And because of that, we usually don't get the next episode until the day after. But we I guess it hit midnight.
We were sitting there going like, oh man, we're not going to be able to watch it till tomorrow. Well, I guess we'll rewatch the first 2 parts of the reunion. And we were just sitting there and like cuddling and everything. And like the reunion had ended. We were just looking at each other. And then it was like, now playing part 3 of Vanderpump Rules, the reunion. And we looked at each other and the noise we made, we would have shooketh the mountains.
It was like 2 girls seeing each other from across campus. And they didn't know yet that they both got into the same college. It was a
that was such
moment.
a night. Anyway, Lords of Change.
Oh, I
Big
forgot
Bird's
how cute
big
he
magic.
is. Look at him.
No, he's very cute. Big Bird's big magic. And guess what their favorite thing to do is?
Flap about.
Yes, but also they love manipulating. This
Especially
is like their favorite
fucking
thing to do.
Vertebrae.
I guess so. But these are the guys they'll find like the ruler of a planet or something. And they'll be the ones to like, just from the shadows, like in the darkness, just like whispers, like, hey, maybe you should do this. The temptations, the manipulations. I have this information. Maybe you would benefit from that. Ooh,
Little finger.
Maybe. Little bit. Yeah. It is said that Lords of Change can destroy armies with a glance, a armored vehicle with a flick of their fingers.
Little fingers.
They mean business when they show up. But, as I said before, they work from the shadows. And if they have to appear on the battlefield, they usually are like in the air, flapping around and just casting spells.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
I mean, it makes sense, right?
That's what I do in my weird ass dreams.
Here's something really funny. If they have to get into melee combat, say like a champion of Khorne comes up and he's like, "Rawr," and he's going to get this Lord of Change. The Lord of Change, they can see like the near future.
Okay.
So he's just going to dodge like every attack that gets thrown at him.
I just realized what this guy's face is putting in my brain.
Precisely.
Man, remember when Ruber was a meme for like 2 months?
It was wild because I didn't know anyone else knew about that movie.
Now watch me create my mechanical army with pride.
God, that movie is so good.
That movie is wild. Anyway, this isn't 100% canon. This is considered old lore, so take this with a grain of salt, but it's pretty neat to think about. It used to be that a Lord of Change could only really be defeated when it's part of Tzeentch's plans, and he sends them false visions of the future. Oh, the bomb is gonna hit me here, so I'll stand here instead. But Tzeentch is like, so they get bamboozled. But this is old lore.
That's kind of fucked up.
Yeah. I mean, Tzeentch, it's all part of the plan, right?
Oh.
But that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. So they're just big birds.
So wait, what do you mean it doesn't seem to be the case anymore? So they can kind of like they have like a sense of what's about to happen.
Yeah, that part is still canon. They can see the near future, but it used to be they could only be defeated if Tzeentch sent them a false.
Okay. So now it's like you could outsmart them, you just have to be really clever.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically they don't have plot armor anymore.
Right. You can't explain everything away as you actually lost even if you beat them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if like a Grey Knight is hunting a Lord of Change and he's like, I am the hammer, and he like, and he
winner
wins.
attitude.
It's not like, he didn't really win because it was really part of Tzeentch's plan. I mean, it still is like that, but
Shout out to that guy.
Kari has the biggest crush on the tutorial guy from Chaos Gate.
He just has such conviction. I find it so inspiring.
We're gonna
He
see
gave
how she
everything.
feels about Space Marines when we get there very soon.
I have a feeling it's not going to be as pure and genuine as my love for this particular guy.
Yeah, I feel like Space Marines you'll like, but you'll probably really like some of the Primarchs. The most notable Lord of Change, by far,
Polly,
is a Lord of the Change by the name of Kairos, fateweaver.
I know what Kairos means. In
What does
Greek,
Kairos mean?
in ancient Greek,
Oh, what does it mean?
it means a moment in time. I know that
This is
because
very appropriate.
one of my first voiceover jobs and directing jobs was for the radio play Kairos, which was a superhero radio play set in Vancouver.
That's cool.
And the first 3 episodes are still on YouTube. But
Hey.
it's unfortunately it got canceled. But it was a really fun little random thing. So yeah, the name was Kairos because my character, the main character, she had time powers. So Kairos Time Weaver anyway.
In time.
A moment in time weaver.
Kairos Fateweaver. Let me set up this guy really quick. Let me set him up properly.
Okay.
The Grey Knights have a book that lists 101 of the most dangerous demons to ever come across.
Okay.
And he is on that list.
Okay.
As like one of the worst.
Oh, okay.
If you come across Kairos,
Right.
it's better to run or just hope that he's not here to do something involving you.
What is happening with his tongue?
Let me tell you how Kairos was created. So there's this thing called the Well of Eternity.
Real
Basically
deep.
some mythological thing. Basically, it's like this hole at the center of the universe. You know Norse mythology?
Mm.
You know how Odin lost his eye?
Mhm.
Because he like gazed into like the truth of the universe.
He
Basically
basically
that. Think of it like
sacrificed
that.
an eye for the truth, for knowledge.
So think of it like that. So there's this Well of Eternity, and Tzeentch at the time could see the past and the present, but he wanted to gaze into the future. And he's looking at this giant well, and he's just like, that seems really dangerous. And he looked over at Kairos, and he pushed him in.
Well, shit.
And eventually, Kairos got spat back out, but he had 2 heads now, and he just started mumbling insane things.
He went down
that-
and up too fast in the abyss from Maiden in the Abyss.
I don't
Maiden
know about
Abyss.
that. I haven't seen that.
It like mutates you if you go down
then,
and
yeah.
up too fast. That's why you
That's
can't.
very appropriate then.
This is literally Quest for Camelot. He pushed him in the freaking thing and he came out looking different with spooky beak.
Now watch me create my bird army with pride. So Kairos came back out and he's just like mumbling these insane predictions of the future. And Tzeentch was like,
Yeah.
that's weird. And so he employed 81 other Lords of Change to record every single word that he says because Tzeentch is just extra like that.
Oh, so he was like saying the spell.
Not necessarily the spells, but like, oh, there's gonna be a war and the war is gonna... Basically,
Oh, he was having he became an oracle.
well, yeah, he became an oracle because, again, the Well of Eternity, Tzeentch wanted to see the future, so he yeeted Kairos in there.
Right.
And so now he mumbles things about the past, present, and future.
It's just
Write down everything he says.
disgruntled old people will just be like, the war. And then they'll be like, youth today. And then they'll be
generation had magic.
like, my generation had magic. Magic being homophobia, Grandma. But,
You sound old.
I know.
Grandma.
That's
No,
why
Grandma.
I'm sad every time I learn things.
So as you might have guessed, of course, one
Right.
head always tells the truth,
Yeah.
and the other one always lies. But...
Okay, no problem.
as always, you'll never be able to tell which is which.
Oh, yeah.
To add to the confusion, one head sees the past, the other sees the
Ooh.
future, but Kairos Fateweaver is blind to the present.
Oh, no wonder he's so freaked out. He's disoriented.
Exactly. This is why Tzeentch is like, I need 81 dudes recording every
Wait, that's
single
horrible.
fucking thing
He's
he
just
says.
so confused.
Well,
He doesn't know what's going on. He only knows what happened and what's gonna happen.
he also knows every spell before it's even created.
So Aisha's useless.
Aisha?
Yeah, the girl who's whispering all the spell cures into the universe.
That's
Like,
not
this guy's
spell
got it.
cures.
She should take a break. I'm just kidding.
He knows every spell before it's even created, though he is very weak to physical strikes because, again, blind to the present.
He can't.
You didn't
yeah.
see this coming, did you, shithead? Hit him with a hammer.
Right.
As you might have guessed from most of Tzeentch's followers, they are huge cowards. So the moment that
Uh-huh.
Kairos is in danger, he flees back into the warp because he is so paranoid that Tzeentch has given him a false vision of the future and that he is like planning to die. So the moment it's like, oh no, the Grey Knights have gotten through. I gotta leave.
Right. Yeah.
But that's Kairos Fateweaver, big bird boy.
like him.
No, he's really cool.
A spooky boy.
In because I can't go one demon episode without mentioning it. Total War Warhammer 3.
Yeah.
when you try to work with him and the old man is talking to him, he's already like, yeah, I know who's going to get the bear. I've seen it. I
Right.
knew you were going to come here. Of course you came here. And you have to sort
Right.
of like trick him into getting him to work for you. Not necessarily trick, but you have to convince him.
How do you use the three-eyed raven?
How do you use it?
In Game of Thrones.
I don't know. You just keep seeing it. Keep seeing it, follow it to the north, I guess.
What is the three-eyed raven?
I don't fucking know.
It's confusing, man.
It's very confusing. It's like an omen, but a guide? I don't know. Whatever.
We'll get to it.
Okay. It's time to talk about the goofiest Tzeentchian character, the changeling.
Whoa, that's Darkheart.
From Care Bears.
Yeah! Look at him!
This was not the connection I expected today.
Care Bear countdown. 5, 4,
Oh,
3, 2.
God.
You know who my favorite character was?
What's up?
Shrieky. Because it was the first person who was just like me. I made that sound too.
Oh, no. So, the Changeling is the greatest prankster in history.
He's got an award. As honored by who?
Tzeentch.
Oh, okay. So he's the greatest trickster in history on the Tzeentch side.
You'll see what I mean. It is unknown what the Changeling looks like, even to the Changeling himself. Only
he's a
Tzeentch
baba.
remembers what the Changeling's true form is, and Tzeentch keeps it to himself to keep the Changeling wrapped around his finger. He can change into any form, any demon, human, whatever they want. He is the embodiment of ADD.
Me!
He is just like me for real. The biggest problem with the Changeling is that he gets very bored very quickly.
Oh, yeah, that's me too. We ain't got enough dopamine, guys.
So often he is doing one thing, and before it's even finished, like the plan has been completed, he's already off doing something else.
I'm gonna own up to it. This is why a lot of the videos have been a bit more delayed.
Because of ADD. It's true, though. Listen, we're both victims. We're both doing our best, man.
It's really hard.
We're doing our
working on a
best.
system.
Allow me, my love, to list you a few of the things that the Changeling has done. Stole an apple from Slanesh's palace, like a golden apple, like a Greek.
And then did he like offer it to a guy?
No, he left it in Nurgle's garden, resulting in a battle between the two gods. Because Slaanesh was like, why the fuck is that in your garden? How dare you? And then they fought each
So it still
other.
caused a conflict.
Exactly. He has melted down brass fleshhound collars and made dioramas of Khorne's greatest defeats.
Okay, that's funny.
Cut a piece of Slanesh's hair off while she slept to make a cloak and gave it to a mortal who eventually became a chaos champion of Tzeentch.
Okay, I like this guy so far, but that's incel behavior. I don't know what the fuck is up with that one. That's weird, bro.
Sealed the gate to Khorne's brass citadel, forcing him to break the doors to get inside.
That's again funny.
Put a trio of Nurglings onto the skull throne that Khorne then sat on, making a mess and an awful sound. He made a Nurgling
Were
whoopee
the
cushion.
Nurglings okay?
No, well, I mean, they're demons. They'll come back, right? They're on a respawn timer. They got squished and then,
Listen,
they're back
I
in
don't
the
like
warp.
the idea of suffering, but if this is like pain and panic style, like, haha,
That seems to be
then-
the case.
okay, then that's funny.
And Khorne sat on it and he was like, oh my fucking god, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker.
And then he had to clean it up, and his butt was all dirty, so he had to take a shower. He comes over to Nurgle's house with a paper towel soaked in Nurgling, and he's like, here.
This is yours.
I think it was Tzeentch.
Naturally, most of the Chaos Gods, other than Tzeentch is like, good job. The Chaos Gods fucking hate this dude. And they're like, if I have any opportunity, I will kill him. And Tzeentch is like, yeah, understandable. As a Gretchen, he was disguised as Gretchen at the time,
Oh, okay.
adjusted an orc boss's shooter so that when fired, the war boss exploded.
I'm kind of anti-establishment, so I'm into that.
What if that was the start of the revolution? Could you imagine?
Oh, like I'm not into it. Like, don't hurt anyone. Like, don't. But
Rise up.
yeah, disrupt the establishment.
This one's a bit complicated. There was this lord who was under siege, and he was under siege by these space marines, right?
Sure.
And so he was like, I have to cohort with demons in order to get out of this shit. So he made a summoning circle. The changeling saw this, disguised himself as a Lord of Change, showed up, and the Lord was like, what do I do? You have to help me. And the changeling was like, don't worry. I have this powerful artifact that will end the siege. All you need to do is use it. And he gave it to him. And then he was whisked away back into the warp. And the moment that this lord used the artifact, the Space Marines appeared in his room as they had locked onto the teleport Homer that he had in his hands.
Okay, so they like manipulating.
Mm-hmm.
What do they get out of it?
Enjoyment. Power. It's like Slaanesh where you feel happiness, it like directly feeds into her. It's like when you manipulate someone, it directly feeds into Tzeentch. Also, it's funny.
Yes. I guess I'm just having to kind of make the bank in my head of seeing manipulation as a thing that could be measurable in a sense of then like translating into an energy. I think I've just never thought about it like that, but it makes sense.
Yeah. I think this is also why Slaanesh and Tzeentch get along, because where there is betrayal, where there is manipulation, there is pain, there is suffering. There might also be joy.
They're more conceptual, whereas like the other two are measurable.
Exactly.
Like there are going to be a certain number of bacteria in the world if you want to like, boil down Nurgle, other than you would kill the bacteria.
Yes.
But, and then like Khorne is like skulls and blood. Like, I have measuring cups and like I can count. Right? Especially with the spreadsheet.
Well, that said, Khorne also is measured by glory and honor, and Nurgle is also death, and so on and so forth. So they're all conceptual in some way, but it's just Tzeentch and Slaanesh are more conceptual than the other two. I do see what you're saying, yeah.
I wonder, when
the other two need like an object.
There is something physical about
the sickness, the skulls.
But then I guess like with Slaanesh, like pain, pleasure, like
Tzeentch is a little more hidden, yeah.
Like this is what I'm kind of asking, because manipulation is a thing that you do in order to get what you want. And yes, like maybe you might find, if you're a type of person who finds manipulating people fun, then sure, the fun is what you're getting out of it.
Think of it like a slippery slope. Because you manipulate someone, often why do people manipulate someone? Power.
Yeah, so it's a power trip.
Do you want more power? Well, why don't you try casting the spell? Why don't you try becoming a more powerful wizard? Why don't you just go ahead and dedicate yourself to me?
It's love bombing.
Essentially, yeah.
In a way. You're tricking them into thinking that you are on their side so that when they can no longer get away from you, they don't have a choice, and it doesn't matter if they're loyal or not.
There are quite a few followers of Tzeentch who absolutely hate Tzeentch.
Yeah.
And they use his powers and his magic and stuff
to
like
they're
spite
too
him.
far in.
Yeah, they're too far in.
They're under contract, and they got...
There is a demon that does deal in contracts, though he is not a Tzeentchian demon.
Contract I use more as a concept of something is bound in a way, right? Whether that be legally or spiritually or when the girl from Sinbad does the X thing on her.
Oh, yeah, cross my heart.
Yeah, she vows.
Yeah, Tzeentch's followers typically, especially in 40k, do not like Tzeentch. In fact, a lot of Chaos followers do not like their patron god because they're like, we're in this situation out of a bad circumstance, and if we could get out of it, we would, but we can't. We're too far in. I would like to read for you a little excerpt called The Guardian of the Maze. Are you ready for story time?
I'm ready, guys.
Let's turn down the lights.
It's time.
Oh.
Within the convoluted labyrinth of Tzeentch, it is said that there is one true path to infinite knowledge that any creature, mortal or demonic, can follow. This road leads through 9 gates, each barred against entry. The gates appear as golden arches, thrice the height of a man, wreathed in a purple, blue, and pink fire. At each gate stands the guardian of the maze, little more than a giant, gloating mouth in appearance. The nature of the guardian is such that it stands watch over all 9 gates at the same time.
Did you know this is actually the most expensive bodyguard that McDonald's employs?
When someone approaches one of the gates, the guardian poses them a question. One of the 999 riddles of Zarathoth. The guardian itself has no ears and can never hear the reply, and so it can never tell the secret to anyone. But the enchantment of the gates means that they will open to the correct reply. The riddles are said to be so taxing that only the greatest lateral and logistical thinkers can discern their answer. The guardian swallows whole those intruders who gave incorrect responses. Legends tell that only one challenger, clad in the guise of a young girl with a little black dog, managed to make her way through all the gates. When Tzeentch questioned him about his failure, the Guardian accused her of cheating.
I think I know a couple of what these questions might have been.
Such as?
What is your question?
I wish absolute power.
What is your favorite color?
Blue. No, green.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, right. Speaking of colors, Tzeentch's colors, I've mentioned like Khorne, red and stuff.
Yeah.
Nurgle, greens and blacks and browns. Slaanesh,
Yeah.
purples, pinks, golds. Tzeentch, blues, purples, pinks, golds.
Yeah.
Very nice color scheme. But that is all I have
Oh, I
for
like
you
it.
with Tzeentch.
Very cool. I like the whole riddles thing. I always love riddle games.
Oh, yeah.
Especially like, in storytelling or whatever. Like I remember being a child and my mom reading me the scene between Bilbo and Gollum.
Yep. As a kid, that was my favorite chapter.
I memorized the riddles.
Yep.
I
same.
I
did the same thing. Yeah.
It was such a, because we had like the old storybook with all the illustrations and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just such a I don't know, that scene always stuck with me in a weird way. Like it's just it's a scene that you could do as a play.
And typically people do.
Yeah. But what I just mean by that is there's like a whole arc within it.
Yes.
And it's so well done, but it's also so easy to understand because it's like in this dark, secluded place. So your mind doesn't have to like fill out that much. And it's everything that is in it is described so well.
Yeah. Have I ever told you that I performed at like my local theater? When I was in grade school, I performed in a play of
You were Smaug?
Yeah, I was Smaug and I was one of the dwarves.
I hope you went for it like Benedict Cumberbatch.
I did.
Guy.
As like a little 9-year-old.
Wanted that movie
I
to
went
be
for
everything.
it. Oh, babe. I went
I
for
know
it.
you did. You were like me when I auditioned for The Princess and I got cast as Captain Hook.
There was a really interesting debacle that happened during that stage play where the kid who played Bilbo came into rehearsal one day and said, "Hey, what are we using for the prop for Sting?"
Fair.
And they said, "Oh, we're going to use this." And he goes, "That's cool. Can I use this one?" And he brought out a real replica sword.
No.
And they were like, "That's cool." No.
Ooh. Yeah. I can see that happening.
Oh, that was awesome though. I was like, "Oh, you
No,
have
like
it?"
that's
And he was
rad.
like, "That's rad."
I got my ex-boyfriend's like dad when we were obviously still dating. I got his dad a replica of the broken sword because he really liked it for Christmas one year.
Oh yeah. That brings an end to our series on the ruinous powers.
Aww.
Well, don't worry. We will
love
definitely have
ruinous
more
chaos.
episodes. We will definitely have more episodes involving chaos.
Oh, guys,
but-
can we give a round of applause for our cast in this
Khorne, take a
everybody
bow.
take a
Nurgle,
bow.
you
Oh,
too.
God.
Slaanesh, where is Tzeentch?
Yeah.
Where is
Encore,
he?
encore.
He's in the rafters, just like messing with the stage lights.
He's the one selling tickets out front, running off with the profits, probably.
What do you mean you bought a ticket? This is a free show. But the guy at the front said, oh
he
no.
didn't.
So, my love, how do you feel about the Chaos Gods overall?
I enjoyed them. Like, I don't agree with them. You know what I mean? But like as storytelling concepts, I think they're cool. I enjoy in a story categorizations and like being able to identify between them, if that makes sense.
Right.
For instance, the classic one is like, what's your Harry Potter house? I am a Ravenclaw.
Could you imagine if one of them was yellow? And it was like really like, wow, okay.
If green became yellow and purple became green, are we doing which god goes into which Hogwarts? Okay.
Are you?
Okay,
I'm all right.
Khorne is
I'm willing to have
Gryffindor.
this conversation. Yep, obviously.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah.
Pride, joy, glory. Yep.
Yeah. Tzeentch is Slytherin.
I disagree.
How?
Because what is Ravenclaw's whole deal? It's knowledge, right?
Yeah, but Slytherin's whole deal is deception. Doing
See, this is
whatever
the
it
problem.
takes to get what you want.
Here's the issue.
So here's the
I-
funny thing is that you and I actually, and this is an embarrassing sentence, are actually Slitherclaws.
Bro.
Don't judge me, guys. This is so like I'm going back to like grade 10 knowledge here.
So
I'm just using the
here's thing.
language.
Here's the thing. Obviously, We hate J.K. Rowling.
We don't stand the turf.
We don't stand J.K. Rowling. But this is a fun little hypothetical. I say Slaanesh Slytherin.
Okay.
Specifically because Slaanesh has a lot of snake imagery. Like a lot of snake imagery.
Yeah, I kind of I'm leaving that out in my mind. Only
You're going for vibes, not for like
I'm going
the symbol.
vibes. And honestly, like I could definitely see Slaanesh, but I would come at it more from the well, just do whatever you want aspect of
Right.
it. Like
Yeah.
Slytherins are gonna steal the example in the second
Steal my
movie
cheat.
is like you see Draco like take that cupcake that's not his.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
and he just doesn't even give a fuck. That would be more of a Slaanesh thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also probably why Tzeentch and Slaanesh get along, because in order to kind of indulge yourself, you often have to be a little bit deceptive, because to have
Mhm.
too much is to take from someone else.
Yes. So this is why Kor and Nurgle, they get along.
Yeah.
It's not like they're best friends or anything, but they tolerate each other. Slaanesh and Tzeentch definitely tolerate each other.
Yes.
Meanwhile, they oppose the other one.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like it
Mhm.
feels like there's balance.
Obviously, Nurgle is Hufflepuff, one with nature.
It's a little bit
Blah, blah,
like
blah, blah, blah.
looking at it from, let's say, an avatar. The elements.
Mm.
Usually when an avatar learns one element first, for instance, Aang learns air first, the actual opposite element is going to be the most difficult for them to learn. Aang really
Yes.
struggles to learn earth. Korra really struggles to learn fire.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like an ecosystem almost. It kind
Yeah.
of
Everything is connected, even though it's so different.
yeah, like I would be really interested to know about other gods and like non-canon gods specifically, because just to know how they would have fit in, what they would have covered.
Yes. And we will definitely have more discussions when it comes to chaos, especially when we come to Chaos Undivided.
I feel like that's an oxymoron, slightly.
It does feel like that, doesn't it?
Well, it feels like it.
Mhm.
And I feel like were I to sit there and write an essay, I could make an explanation.
Do you remember what I said to you at the end of the Corn episode? Where they are often opposed to each other, but sometimes there is a
You
scheme
want to
that
get
is so
Taco
great.
Bell?
There is so incredibly treacherous that all four ruinous powers will
Oh,
cooperate.
Yeah.
Resulting
Chaos control.
in some sort of heresy.
You know what I just got? My own joke, because it's chaos. The god's
Control.
chaos, but it's also chaos control.
Who would you say is your favorite chaos
Ooh,
god?
Horus. Wait.
That's not. Nope.
Okay, I was a
We
sentence
haven't even
behind.
talked about
Well,
it.
you were saying the thing, and I was.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I think Tzeentch.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Not
I
Slaanesh?
Well,
Or is it like pretty close?
I want to learn more about Tzeentch. I want to look at Slaanesh.
I see what you're saying.
So that is to say, I think if I went out and bought models right now, I would buy Slaanesh, probably. I feel like I have an interest, and usually I know that when I feel that interest, that's going to be the thing that I delve into. That doesn't mean I'm not going to spread out and learn more things, but it's like when suddenly I got into healing,
Yes.
and suddenly all of my healers were leveled, and everybody was like, what happened? And I was like, it works for me.
I
My
had an
brain
afternoon.
gets the good chemicals. And then I LB3'd and I couldn't like breathe for 3 days. It was great.
This is going to be really, really interesting when we get into the Space Marines and we get into the ones that will eventually become Tzeentch's Chaos Space Marines. that
Okay, but
follow
I
him.
feel like I'm still into Slaanesh's Space Marines though. Those guys, they got
The
a
Emperor's
vibe.
Children. Yeah.
Yeah.
They got the Noise Marines. And
We
Noise
got-
Marines
yeah.
are fantastic.
Listen.
They're amazing. Hey, Games Workshop, where's that Emperor's Children? Where is it? Give it to me now, please. Who would you say is your least favorite Chaos God?
In terms of models, Nurgle. But in terms of like, I would vibe with them, probably Khorne.
As in, you would not vibe with them.
I would probably not vibe with Khorne.
That's fair. In a game,
Ah,
so video game or tabletop, whatever.
Yeah.
What faction do you think you would play as?
Tzeentch.
Interesting.
I can see more that I can do with it right now.
Mm-hmm. I see what you're saying.
I feel like I am a person that I love debate. I love language and understanding that I've gotten my point across and knowing that I understand what the other person is communicating and actually trying to think about it.
Tzeentch followers also would be the first ones to be like, let's just talk about things really quick.
Which is always what I say. Like every time a freaking boss shows up, I'm like, okay, guys, let me just try asking if it needs anything right now.
Now, if a Tzeentch follower felt like you are wasting their time or you're not giving them the answer that they need, great. Turns you into ash like it's nothing.
Like it's Wednesday?
It's just normal Wednesday. I turned someone into ash today. Haha.
Oh. Well, good
I felt
thing
nothing.
that was
Who
actually
was that?
my clone and not me, which I set up earlier.
I actually have a magic force field
Yeah.
and like you can't penetrate it. It's like invincible.
Yeah, you've activated my trap card.
That's all of Tzeentch. You've activated my trap card.
Cool.
You've done everything according to my plan.
Okay, well, I like doing
Tzeentch
that.
never loses.
Right.
That was part of the plan. I'll get you next time.
It's like when villains off themselves, and I'm like, now what, loser?
Any questions on Tzeentch or the Chaos Gods overall?
So, okay, I want to flip it. What's your favorite? Who would you play as?
Corn.
Or, since you do play,
Yeah.
what do you have the most fun playing as?
I have fun with not having to work super hard to have fun. Like, I'm very simple in that, hey, what's my game plan? I'm gonna have this group of guys walk up to your group of guys, and they're just gonna hit each other. Oh, did all my guys die? Ah, that's all right. Like, I don't really...
My soldiers ride. My soldiers rage.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, Ava's just sitting
Why do you think
there
I
like,
love that scene so much? I got hype. Yeah, so I find myself gravitating to Corn quite a bit. I find that in video games, I am the worst when it comes to playing Slaanesh.
Interesting.
I am not good at
Okay,
Slaanesh.
here's a question. Because I was trying to think about this. What do you do? Like, Corn, you run up, you hit it. Nurgle, you win. It's like a dot, right?
So in a game, Corn is very much like, put your guys to those guys and have them hit each other.
Right.
Nurgle, you are a wall. You're very slow. You're going to sit there and they're going to hit you and you're not going to care. Tzeentch is, I'm going to get you before you even get me because guess what? Magic. Right. And like they're gone before they even reach your front line.
Right.
Slaanesh is all about flanking and hitting the right spot at just the right time
Okay.
for maximum effects.
She's tactical.
Yeah.
So there are 4 of the gods.
Yes.
And
the big
whatever
ones.
else. So is the emperor guy just an atheist?
It's a whole fucking thing. What is your favorite type of squig?
Oh,
Clonk.
yeah, we love Klong.
Are you guys ever gonna do fantasy-centered episodes or strictly 40k? I totally plan on doing fantasy. I absolutely love fantasy and Age of Sigmar lore, but we just have to find the right time to do it.
I like fantasy.
Yeah.
Now, what did we learn?
Nothing, wench. Shia Kazing.